Robert?
Hey man, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good. Yeah, I was gonna talk. I was gonna find out tonight whether I would be able to talk. I don't see you. Are you? Oh, okay. Oh no, I see. I was looking for a camera to be on. I just saw a black child Hoffman, so I didn't know. I was gonna see tonight if you wanted to talk a little bit about last week because we didn't get to talk to you. But I didn't know whether you was gonna be on at when we started or whether you was gonna be on the road or moving around. You home or you somewhere gone in the car?
I'm home. I'm home today.
You said you're not home?
I am home today. I stayed home today. Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Trying to catch up on paperwork.
Can you talk today about that?
Sure. My activity last week with a new group.
Yeah, because I know we spoke to the associate frame, but we didn't talk a lot to you.
Right.
Okay. For obvious reasons. So yeah.
Okay. So definitely, yes. Sharing the success of that, and
we'll talk about that. I'm actually a few questions about it. We're gonna go to some others. We can go to some other things too, but I just wanted to. I kept telling myself I was gonna text you and ask you about it, and I never did text you. Make co-host, yes. And sharing. Make co-host, yes.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Everything's well. Everything's well. John, I love the beard.
First one I ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
It really looks good on you.
Yeah, filled in pretty good. So I even trimmed it today a little bit, so I don't get like the Santa Claus look.
Let's see here. I think my background will be too dark.
I should both be co-hosts, so if y'all see Sharanda, just let her in, then I'll make her a co-host once she gets in. Okay. I don't see her right now. And we are live on YouTube right now. So anybody that's watching from YouTube, hello. We're trying to go live a little bit earlier now, so yeah.
Can you hear you on YouTube?
Huh?
Can they hear you on YouTube?
Yes, I'm already live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been trying to go live a little bit because normally we don't normally let people into about 8:35 Eastern. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I go live, it's almost 8:40. So people who have gotten on, sometimes they don't know whether or not we going live because they don't have a signal that whether we get on or not. You know how it is with when people jump on here, they know that we're here. We just in the waiting room. They're just in the waiting room. When you're on YouTube, it does. If they go to my channel and nothing is connected yet, they don't know whether we're gonna be there or not.
Okay.
So I said, well, I'm gonna start going in there a little bit early. So I went into YouTube right at 8:30. That way, anybody, you'll know that we're here. Absolutely. So we'll let them in here in a second. And I think I'm going to ask you a couple of, just to give you a heads up, Sharon, because we're going to be talking a little bit about field training today. Mm-hmm. So I'll ask you a couple of questions, just general questions about, field training, because you're a field trainer, obviously. We're going to talk a little bit about that as John talks about last week's activity, because we didn't get a chance to talk to him. Because I just think it's a lot of people just we don't have enough people doing enough work with field trainers. And I think those bonuses really do help, but still a lot of people don't know that those exist. And they just, still people thinking that in order for them to even be using the field trainer, they got to be living in the same city, somewhere that they can meet with the person or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I reached out to corporate. I got assigned a couple of trainees that want to work in this space, but they're 7-day Adventists. Whereas in Friday at sundown to Saturday to sundown, they're in their religious setting and they don't do anything business related. And so Don Maples sent the email to Alan, and I told him, I said, they're not the first 7-day Adventist that's in the company and will not be the last, and want to know if he can consider thinking about another day of the week that he can perhaps do next month or whatever it fits in you guys' schedule. And he said, yeah, he never thought about that. He just thought everybody had a Saturday off. No, not the ones that practice their religion on the weekend.
Yeah.
Of course, this Saturday we got Darnell Self and Brian Carruthers in Southern California, so I couldn't convince anybody to take the class from here. Well, I got two people taking the class. They're going to watch our laptop at the hotel reception area in the lobby, and then after that go into the Darnell Self's training after that. So yeah, Saturdays are tough days for CDLP, it seems like.
Yeah. I got Sharon now. $8:35. So we can go ahead and start letting them in and welcoming them in. Hey, Sharon, wherever you at.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, Sharonda.
I'm good. So,
All right, let's see.
I think I let him in.
Oh, they're all right. Let me check. Let me see. No, they're still in the waiting room. Okay.
Not on my end.
Y'all see them still in the waiting room? Anybody else? Let me see.
they're in the waiting room. I just let them in.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what was going on. Yeah. Right.
When I hit view, it doesn't give me the normal button what Sharonda just saw.
Oh, let me see something too. Let me make sure. Like that too. Make sure.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, Miss Barbara.
Evening.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Hello.
Los
Hello.
Hello, Murray. What's up, man?
All right.
Greg Shivers, Florida. How you doing, Miss Holiday?
Hey, Greg, finding yourself?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Good to
Good
see
evening,
you.
everyone. Good evening, Mr. Hoffman, Mrs. Holiday.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, Greg. Good evening, all.
Good evening, Dunbar.
Hello. How are you? Oh, wait a minute. Am I muted?
No, you're not,
No.
Robert.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Well, my video is off. Okay, there we go.
Afternoon, everyone.
Sorry
Good
about
evening,
that.
everyone.
Susan,
Colorado.
Hey, Susie. Sam.
Hello, Susie. Hello, everybody from YouTube as well. I always forget to say hi to them until I go there. So if you're on YouTube watching, hello. We know you're important too. Thank you. Absolutely. So tonight, this evening, guys, we're going to be talking a little bit about John Hoffman's activity last week, because we didn't get a chance to talk to John Hoffman about it, just the associate that he was working with. So we're going to talk a little bit about how they managed to get that open, some different things that John is doing, not only to help associates that are working with him open up groups, but things that he's doing to open groups. He talked a little bit about that too. We're going to talk just a little bit about some field training things, among some other things. A couple of things that I saw on the Facebook page as well. A couple of statements and some stuff there. And I know sometimes there's new people, so bear with us, people who have been around for some time. I know sometimes some of the stuff we talk about, you guys are like, oh man, I heard that before. But there's always new people getting on that don't have a clue. People that just joined Legal Shield that don't have a clue. People who just been certified who don't have a clue. So we need to make sure that those people are actually hearing information that they hadn't heard before as well. So just bear with us on that. And if it's something that you heard before, repetitive learning always works. So just take the note down again to make sure you're practicing it. I know many of you are still asking questions about whether or not a CDLP trainer let me just say a field trainer in general, and one that understands CDLP has to be living in your backyard in order to work with you. And obviously we know that that's not the case. You can work with somebody from a distance. A lot of times you're not actually even going to be going in and doing a physical presentation for a lot of the companies anyway. So a field trainer does not necessarily need to be living in the same city or any of that. If you are lucky enough to have one or feel privileged enough to have one, that's great, but that's not always the case. So we will talk about a little bit about both sides of that. The trainers will be talking about that as well. So, all right, it's 8:40, so we're gonna go ahead and get open up first with some introductions from our trainer, and then we'll go right into some training here on some of the things that we talked about. So, Miss Sharanda Ivy, I'm gonna open up to you first, ladies first, so you can do your introduction, then we'll go from there.
Hello, my name is Sharanda Ivy. I'm here in Byron, Georgia. CDLP state trainer for Georgia. And like Dummer say, I had to share this with somebody today. It's only 6 of us, so it's 50 states. So, you know, do the math. So, but yeah, so CDLP state trainer, 50K ring earner, business solutions, Emerald Elite. We've opened up personally. I was going on 2,000 memberships, but you know, been awarded the 1,000 App Award, Production Achievement Award. #1 field trainer for 2019 and 2021. Got that Ladies of Justice, those 2 plaques, and recognized recently as #2 in the company for opening new groups last month. With everything going on with life, #1 field trainer for the month of April as well. And so just chose this space as my major. Been with Legal Shield now for 9 years, and I think since 2017, just decided that I wanted to focus on something that I really enjoyed doing and had fun doing it, and it was always this space. And so working with associates, helping them to hit their goals, I'm very passionate about that. You know, just whatever it looks like for them, just focusing on partnering with individuals. One of the top small biz producers as well, do a lot of cross-selling, but I do it in this space. Am I a full service associate? Absolutely. I'm doing a lot of recruiting now on the solution side, bringing in associates to focus on business solutions as well. And I'm just here to just serve and help those individuals that definitely can help do whatever they want their goals to be. So with that, I pass it over to John to introduce himself.
Good evening, everybody. It's so hard to follow Sharanda. There's such a success story behind her. And how do you top that? I can't.
I knew John was about to do that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Nothing else to say, really. You know. But she said there's 6 of us. I think there's only 5 of us, and I happen to be the guest trainer this Saturday, and this is something that only happens twice a year. It's less common than the moon eclipse that happened last night, wherein I get to field train or to be a guest trainer on the CDLP certification call, like Sharanda also do a couple of times a year. So these are where I get to share my little tidbits and how my prospecting tools that I use and how I search companies. So I hope you can I'll talk to your downline associates and upline associates to encourage them to take this training. But I've been in Legal Shield for 15 years this year in August, and first part was part-time because I have my own business, which happened to be a commercial truck tire business, where I was like a broker. I would sell tires. I wouldn't install them or get rid. I would just deliver, trailers loads of tires and truckloads of tires to transportation companies, and that's how I got. When I saw Legal Shield CDLP, it was just something that fit naturally. Of course, when you find more about the CDLP program, it's something that you really realize that this is something that is sorely needed in the commercial driving community. I was just updating my list, and I field trained with a couple long distance associates in the East Coast, and they've seen my list of companies that I share with them. And I just added a couple hundred more names on that list today of companies that are getting in trouble and they're getting fined, and they need us, so we need as many CDLP associates as we can get out there. I also was one of the field trainers of the year. I was, of course, behind Sharanda, like probably everybody else in the company was. And let's see, what else can I say? I'm going to talk a little bit more about my success last week with when I was field training with an individual. It was the third week out, but I'll share that experience later on, deeper into the meeting. All right, Robert, go ahead.
Okay. All right, brother, appreciate that. So yeah, we're going to interview you here in a second so you get a chance to talk a little bit more about that success. So Robert Dunbar, been with the company for over 13 years now, been a trainer on the networking side, on the business solution side, and all those great things. So it's been a great experience for me working with the company and just being a part of this success that has happened. I've been taught a lot on the training side. I've gotten better as a trainer because of working with Legal Shield and working with you all. And my pit stop probably was CDL because I like the fact that it's niche. I like the fact that there's not as many Legal Shield associates or not as many outside sales associate in any kind of company selling what we sell here. Also, you hear us talk a lot about the fact that you can walk in the front door with CDL, but then you can turn around and sell everything else, which last week we talked about intentionally cross-selling for that reason. So you can offer the other products that we market here. So, if a person that likes to sell things and feel better about the fact that you're protecting somebody that needs a little bit more protection. The more I deal with logistics and truck drivers and just what happens in that industry, it makes a lot more sense what we offer. I don't think we sell enough of it. I don't think it's enough associates promoting this particular product because of what it does. It really does make it helpful to that driver behind that wheel, that owner operator on the side of insurance, being a little bit better for them. When you're looking at all these different components that we offer to make everything better for that truck driver, that truck and company, all those different things. So this is a great niche. Love it. So we're here to help as much as we can. And hold on, make sure you can speak on here. As much as we can. And we are going to start today by interviewing Mr. John Hoffman. Then we'll go into some other field training things as well. Of course, our trainers will chime in to ask John some questions as well. And maybe we'll taste a couple of leads, a couple of other ways when we start talking. And then there's a couple of things on the Facebook page I want to address too as well, just things that came up. So if we have enough time to do all those things before we close out, that'd be fantastic. So John Hoffman, trainer on the West Coast in state of California, of course. You opened up that company last week with us. So I know he's not a brand new associate, but you helped that associate open up that company. So we did ask him a lot of questions, but we didn't ask you many questions. So I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about what you did to help, how you think you benefited him as an experienced seller and trainer with the company, and just some different things that happened in that group that you think an inexperienced person wouldn't have known how to deal with if they didn't have a field trainer, somebody that was good in business solutions, or whatever experiences you have in this space that helped with closing that, and how it was working with that person in the field, because sometimes we know the issue might be the field trainer, right? And sometimes the issue is the trainee, right? So there can be challenges on both sides, and sometimes both sides at the same time. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, because it's a good thing is a good field trainer, but it also has to be a good thing as a good trainee. Does that make sense? So if any of you guys are in a leadership position at your 9 to 5 and a leadership position in Legal Shield, you know that you can be a great leader, a great trainer, but the people you're training aren't good at what they do, aren't good at being trained, aren't people who follow leadership or are coachable. That can be a problem as well. So it has to work on both sides. So go ahead, John, I'll open it up to you and just talk to us a little bit, and then we'll ask you some questions as trainers.
All right, Robert. Well, I opened this group. It was our second visit to this company. We were asked to come back on a specific day, and we did show up. And this particular person was actually a Legal Shield member before with a small business plan that they had dropped a while ago. And we got the group this time with the Small Biz Pro Plan, which is the Small Biz Pro Plan. If you're in the commercial driving part of this environment, the legal shield, is the one that most of these trucking companies need because they have issues in all 48 states. And until they came out with that program with interstate services, I hadn't marketed any of those large CDL or the large small business plan, we used to call Small Biz 100 before. But when they created the interstate services, that just kind of really opened the floodgates for trucking companies for me. So when we go in there, we talked about that and got the group's authorization signed, and we're invited back to talk to the drivers. Now, I did handpick this company with this associate that I'm working with, mainly because the associate that I'm working with is an Indian person of Indian persuasion. Of course, there's a lot of dialects in India, but he can speak the language, because I felt that a lot of these companies, when you will go into them, you have to really leverage yourself when you go to them. And so I handpicked this company to go to, and I cannot speak Hindi or Punjabi, but he was able to soften that a little bit, that we're working together. That's actually the reason for the facial hair too, because I found out that just as an experiment, I wanted to see what would happen, that there are some ethnicities out there that, you have a male with facial hair a little differently than clean. So we'll see how long I keep it. But it opened actually quite a few doors for us with this experimentation, you might say. But I've done this with other associates too. Like I worked with a field trainer, experience with a lady associate, and I handpicked some accounts that had female safety managers, female HR persons in the CDL range, and just to see how that would work. And that worked, pretty well, just trying to kind of juggle these pieces together to open these groups. So I've got, I kind of focus on an area of, let's say 40 to 100 to 150 drivers. I don't have a lot of small groups that I take care of, mainly because when I go to open a group, I'm usually driving 120 miles to these companies. And at the price of gas nowadays, I don't want to. I can't afford to talk to groups with 2 or 3 drivers. That this is not cost effective. So I do focus on a little bit larger groups, but our program, fits all those categories of it. So anyway, the field trainer experience that I had with Amin, that you talked to or asked questions to last week, we set up a canopy and in this one trucking company, and which I had been moderately successful in. It was about 700 drivers in this company, and he had maybe 10 drivers on it, but we were able to double that enrollment in just one day. Talked to almost everybody we talked to, we were able to enroll. And it's just either timing, or that's always the case. It's always timing, or something happens in the right time and you're in the right spot when that happens. So that was the case, what happened last week between the new group and then going to this one company and just setting up a canopy and table and chairs and talking to drivers as they came in the door. Now, this one company is so huge. They have their own transmission shop, they have their own body shop, they have their own truck leasing department, and of course, where the drivers park their trucks. And so the owner of the company is allowing me to position my canopy in various places within his organization to see, we want to get the maximum exposure to as many drivers as we can. And that's that's some of the things you get the experience of with a field trainer, to think about things like that. Where can we meet the most drivers possible, or where can we meet maybe some of the employees? Because a lot of times when we're in the CDLP environment, we're only stuck in talking to drivers, but this company's got probably 50 staff in the office too. Okay, so I'm going to be buying them lunch, probably like a Costco pizza, or if I can find inexpensive Indian food to be catered there, to go in and talk to the staff and the office too. And so that's the plan for this one company. And like I said, when I worked with Amin, it kind of changed the element a little bit, but that's that's what we try and figure out, what's the right key to get to talk to some of these drivers. There is a little bit of a trust element sometimes. A lot of these drivers get taken by other companies, competition. We always share those stories about upcharges and not getting good results. And we have a lot to overcome, with what's out there. But if you have the answers and you're pretty quick with the answers, again, working with the field trainer, can bring that versus you trying to do it by yourself. Because we've all seen it all between Sharanda, Robert, myself, Lamar, and Christine Seelig also too, and of course Ellen Roman. We've come across all the excuses that people give us and all the reasons why, and we're able to answer those critics and get their business. CDLP, I get a lot of retention on it. Corporate says it's one of the lower retention memberships, but if it's sold right and if you don't overpromise and let the attorney do the over delivering, that's a key in it. That's a key in it. If you get a lot of high retention on it, of course, it counts for PC points now. So if you're in CDLP, you're going to find out that most drivers want to start the first of the month sometimes, and so usually the first of the month, if you're active in this business, you're PC Pro the first or second day of the month, and you're working on your 100 extra, or getting to senior director on your own, which is in grasp of my effort right now, with the month half over. But that's the value of the CDLP and what we can do, because we sell multiple memberships in it. I like to almost consider the CDLP plan a supplement to the legal family plan, because the drivers, we know of other issues when they're on the road. It's not always tickets. It's, there are other items that they have, whether it's landlord issues, wage garnishments are really popular, child support issues with drivers, and IRS tax issues. They're some of the worst record keepers you can come across. Actually had a discussion with one of the attorneys one time and in California, and I was asking about different driver ethnicities, and he said the worst drivers in the world are drivers that come from countries that don't have dictatorships. The ones that have dictatorships, we have the best drivers in the world, because if they do something wrong, if they're in a country with a dictator, they could get they could get killed. I guess, but in companies that are running a little loose, those are the drivers, and they run a little bit loose too. So it's just kind of funny the things you experience in this business, and it's just really quite a large variety of drivers that are out there. When I asked Robert to help me with a group in Savannah, Georgia, I went out there one time, drove out there, and being in my group, and I packed the family up, went on a road trip, and spent Thanksgiving week there, and signed up a handful of drivers. It wasn't worth a trip, but it was an experience. But I found out I don't speak Southern language down there. I couldn't understand the drivers when they talk to me. It's not the same as Chicago, where I'm from. I talk to, that's why I talk very fast. People say, "You're from California. Why do you talk so fast for?" Because California's got that reputation of being laid back. But that's again, when you want to find other associates to help you with these groups also too. So like I'm helping a few of the associates on this call with long distance training, and that's a learning experience for me. Sharanda's kind of got that wired down pretty well. So you really want to take her training on that, but the associates that I'm working with are learning with me. Last week, I sent out about 300 emails to 300 New Jersey trucking companies to see what kind of response I would get. And I did get one response out of 300. It's not what I was hoping for, but it's just trying to figure out different ways to make this business work and to work it, with as easy as possible without incurring too much, at least like for me, gas expense right now, to try and do as much for my desk.
Hey, John, let me ask you a quick question on that. You just said something about sending 300 emails out. So the 300 emails that you sent out, did you send those out one at a time, or are you using a system? How did you send out 300 emails, and how long did that take? Because I know when I hear something like that, because I trained in the sales space, some people are like, 300 emails, like that's overwhelming for some people. So how did you send 300 emails?
I tried using Constant Contact, but they flagged it because they thought a lot of my emails were just spam, even though they were business email addresses, not personal. So I just sent them out through my regular Legal Shield Associate account that I still have, and I sent about 20 at a time. Just blasted 20 at a time. And so it was just one form letter that I had using the attachment for the road check. That's happening this week, by the way. And then just was, it's still happening. So we're going to maybe see what kind of response we get. That was just last week. I noticed that one of the companies in New Jersey that I did send it out to did get fined last month. That I just noticed on my prospect and how I find these companies that I got fined. So I'm going to follow up with him tomorrow morning and see if he got the email and if he was able to, get that notice in time to, help him with any out of service situations. But it's just an experiment. I'm trying to see what I wish I could send them all out like in a blast. But some of these email servers like Constant Contact was the one I tried to use. And then when I downloaded like 500 email addresses, to my list, they just said, "Well, we think you're doing something funny." Okay, and I said, "No, we're just educating. We're just sharing information." I ran across Constant Contact before a long time ago, and I was trying to recruit, and they flagged me for that one too. So if you're looking for something like that, I would advise don't use that service anyway.
And I'll be shortly. I can't tell you what week because there's a whole bunch going on, guys. But just so you all know, you can send bulk emails through Gmail now. It's a system through Gmail. You can send bulk emails. It's not costing anything. And then also something John said that's important when it comes to that, because I've had some experiences with different email services. Some email services, you will have a problem with sending bulk emails through that service. They look at it like a spam. It could be a subject line. It could be who you sending them to. There's a lot of just different little janky things that can happen. So finding a good email service to send that many emails, don't get stressed out or beaten up or feel like it doesn't work because that doesn't work when you go to do that. Just make provisions like John ended up going to his regular email, sending 20 at a time. That's the way you can deal with it until you get it so that you can send that many. When I used to send through MailChimp, I wouldn't have a problem. I could send thousands of emails at one time. So it depends on the email service that you're using, how that can happen. But I want to stay here though for a second. So John, unless it's some kind of special secret that you might have, I don't know. When you said you sent out 300 emails, what was it for? For the 300 emails you sent out, what did you send out, generally speaking, to 300 companies to get a response in the first place?
Well, the title of the email was, "Are you ready for the 2022 International Road Check?" So that's what I focused on, and of course I attached that document, to the email, and then I just, the little short sentence regarding the road check, and that how Legal Shield is committed to help companies like yours be successful through interstate and intrastate services, and then also help train your drivers. Just a little question mark there. If you'd like more information, please reply to the email and give me a call. And here's the attachment for the road check. My plan was, and it still is, to send another follow-up email. Next one might be about heat-related trucker issues, because we're coming into summertime right now. And this is just part of the library that I have of information that I usually hand out to trucking companies. But you can't hand out, 300 pieces of paper to 300 trucking companies in a month, unless you're just going crazy. But that's what the reason for trying to do an email experiment to see what kind of happens. But just trying to drip on them through an email, not necessarily pushing anything, just saying, we're here for you if you have any situation. And we all realize it's just a matter of timing sometimes, where someone opens that email and says, "Yeah, I just had this issue. Let me reply to this guy," and either thank them or maybe look them up in LinkedIn, because I do put my LinkedIn link on there too. And then to see what happens.
Gotcha. Those 300 names, where did they come from?
They came from my list of companies that got fined, and other trucking companies that I've noticed just driving around California, that people are drivers here from New Jersey that I've noticed. That have, that I know they go 48 states, because I've seen them. I've seen the trucks here, and just from the people that have gotten fined, so I know that they have had an issue.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Good stuff. So you didn't buy any trucking leads, in other words. I have to say that, because if I don't, we're gonna get off here tonight. Somebody gonna be online trying to buy 10,000 trucking leads for 48 cents and be talking about they try calling trucking companies, nobody answering the phone. So I just, you gotta, somebody said they send out 300 emails. The first question is, Where did they get 300 names from? It's never because you prospected. It's always because you went and bought the names from somewhere. And I know people do that, so don't get me wrong. But sometimes, guys, it's literally people going out and doing research, checking for companies, pulling for companies. John has, if you've been on here for any significant amount of time, you will see that John will always show you that he's got a list of contacts that he's created because he's always kind of prowling. I don't want that to sound bad, but you know what I mean? Prowling, looking for more trucking companies that he can prospect. He's constantly doing that. So he's building up a big database. That's how he does it. So he's not going and buying a bunch of random companies that say that they're trucking companies and reaching out to them. Guys, when you do stuff like that, and I'm not going to, try to govern that and tell people, I'm just telling you, when you buy in leads, especially cheap leads, you get what you pay for. Sometimes it's an empty building, you call it. You don't know what you call it. If you want prospects, guys, prospect. I mean, like, it's kind of in the word, right? If you want prospects, you got to go prospect. You got to go prospect. That's where it's at. So I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I know that sometimes that's going through people's head. So Sharanda, because I haven't given you 2 seconds to say nothing over there. I apologize.
You're good.
Yep.
You're good.
Sharanda, anything on all this?
No, just the questions in the box. When we say plug in, we truly mean plug in. These calls have been going on. What number when you started this call? 2017?
Yeah, it's been over 4 years. Yep.
Yeah. I know we haven't been on, we've only been on Zoom since
We've been on Zoom about a year and a half. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a lot of Zoom calls out there, but somewhere Dunbar has those conference calls. But John has talked about research. John has trained on the CDLP virtual stage a couple of times since we started with Alan. And so research, and it's not to be ugly. Research is research. I mean, the trainings with Lamar, they've showed a lot of stuff. John has showed a lot of stuff. The emails are out there. You don't have to buy them. Trucking company leads are out there. You don't have to buy them. FMCSA is free. You just got to take the time and research. And but John has trained on this platform, so you need to go back and find that Monday night training where he trained right after he taught class one weekend and taught about how to look at fines. And I'm sure in that process he showed where the emails are right there on site. So everything we need is out there. One thing I will say, John said he uses his emails. John, do you try so it's not a CRM, you're just using your Legal Shield email, or you got it connected to a CRM?
Using my Legal Shield associate email that I still maintain. Yes.
Right. I still have mine too, but one thing I do with emails, and it's just me being I gotta know whether they open it or not. So I put that in the CRM, because emails, you don't know if they open them and you constantly sending them. You could be sending emails for months and nobody open them, because we got to think about these individuals from the time they start their authority and just run their business. John probably was one of those guys that were in their emails when he had his other traditional company trying to sell them tires. So everybody's trying to sell them. I just remember one operational manager told us one time in the field, he gets over 200 emails a day. So like John said, he has something in that subject box. So you have to be creative. I think somebody said, George, you said it, thinking outside of the box. Your subject line, and Dunbar teaches this too, I know, your subject line has to be something that will be catchy. And that comes from fanatical prospecting, that is going to catch their eye to open it. Because, you could get lost in those 200 emails. So, but like John said, he sent out 3 and he's just trying to see what he can get back. That's 300 people he prospected in a day. And if he got one back, that's good. But what if he got more? And he was consistent, they eventually open it. So that's what I would just advise you to, or read. I think Dunbar, you can come on screen. I don't know about this. I think, does Gmail tell you when they read? Do they have that feature? You know, like some email, you know, I think our Legal Shield associate used to have that feature where
Yeah,
it shows you if they
you
read
can-
it.
You can do it through, they have apps that you can connect. So like Gmail, like Google will have like the little applications that you can add, and they'll have like, they'll do it for me. And I'm hypothetically speaking, I don't know the actual fig numbers on this. They may say you can use it for free and we'll read 250 emails a month. If you want us to read more than that a month, it'll cost you $5.99 or whatever. So you got to figure out what's the most inexpensive thing. But you really made a good point there, Sharanda, because I talk about this all the time. You got to invest in your business, and you have to have your own software. This is your business, guys. I'm not saying Legal Shield stuff does not work, right? What I'm saying to you is you have to have your own CRM. The CRM, they don't cost that much. To invest in and send things from, because let's say John sent 300 and got one response. Let's say John had done that 4 times in one day. He would have gotten 4 responses. And it doesn't take a long time to send 1,200 emails if you're sending them all at one time. Or if you send 4 batches of 300. You guys follow that? So it's a numbers game. And if you can send out batches, then, right? So, and then I'll leave it, I'll let John, like somebody asked in the I'll let Sharanda may have answered this already. Somebody asked in the chat, where did John get the email addresses of companies that have been fined? And if Sharanda didn't answer that, I'll let John answer that. Here in a second about where he got it from. Guys, getting the information, getting prospect information, it's all prospecting. Again, you can buy leads, but you guys know I do a lead generation training, so I talk about what buying leads is. Buying leads, you know, you buying something that somebody else put together that they're saying they're leads. You don't know what you're buying. If you go out and prospect yourself and send information, because that was like so spot on what Sharanda said. If you cannot look at analytics, if you don't know who's opening your email, if you're not putting in a subject line, John said he put something, I can remember what he said he put in the subject line, but if you put something in the subject line saying, FMCSA fined you at the last, annual, whatever, and they put an explanation point. Somebody's going to open that because they think you're talking to them, right? They're clicking that because it's what I call a Twitter pitch. Right? You guys ever see Twitter? People put these pitches, so you click it to read what they're actually talking about. You can do that in the subject line. Your emails, people open up your emails. Sharanda said somebody said 200 emails a day. That's a lot of emails. I know I get a lot of emails, and I look at the emails that I think are important. And sometimes I'm wrong. I click on it, and it's not an important email, but the subject line made me click on it. So if you have good information in your email, and you have a good subject line and they click on it, you will get more clicks, you'll get more opens, which means you'll have more prospects looking at your information. So at some point, guys, we will talk a little bit about that on this platform, because I know that is important in sales, and I know that, but I do also know that Legal Shield has available HubSpot. So I don't know how many of you guys are using HubSpot, whether y'all are using it appropriately in that manner to send out those kind of emails. But guys, the days of sending one email at a time to one prospect at a time, guys, that works, but it works so slow. As an adult, you cannot pay your bills doing it. I'm sorry. You cannot get up in the morning and start sending one email at a time to owner operators and trucking companies and go through, your day is over when you sent 20 emails. I mean, it's just not, you're not getting enough done. When you send in bulk emails and then looking back and saying, okay, I sent 300 emails, right? 19% of them got opened up, 3% got clicked on. Now you can narrow down who's looking at that email, who clicked on something, send them something else, maybe reach out to them and say, hey, I saw you got my email. You see what I'm gonna say, guys? Now you are deliberately going after a particular person, not leaving it up to chance. You guys running the business, like business ownership is not about chance. It's not about luck. It's not about, hey, maybe something will come through if I keep doing something. No, you have to deliberately go after your prospects to sell them what you have, because they're being distracted by other people who sell all day long. Social media, emails, people knocking on their door, that's what happens. So you have to really prospect. So that stack of trucking companies that John has, he needs a stack that big to sell what he sells, because only a portion of those people are buying. You guys follow that? Only a portion. So if that makes sense, everybody put a 2 in the chat. So John, if Sharanda didn't answer that, because I may have missed her answer that, if she didn't answer that question, how are you getting the emails of the companies that have gotten fined so that you know who you're emailing?
Well, there is on the SMS report that's ran pointed out to me, but I did find another website that I can share that has that information, but it also has our EIN number on there too. So I found that very helpful because the last group I opened up, I had the paper already filled out, including the tax ID number. And they said, "Where did you get this from?" I said, "Well, it's public knowledge, everything's out there for you to look at." And so it just streamlines everything when you know where things are at to find out these companies. So the email addresses are out there, the tax ID numbers are out there. You can find them. Even home addresses, even if they're a registered agent. A lot of these trucking companies have their own registered agents that you can find out through another source that I research companies for. And then it's just talking points. I get to research if they'd have accidents out of state. Okay, if they'd had fatalities, of course, and injuries. These are all just talking points when you're going to talk to these companies. You get them on the phone. That's going to be a sore spot, for them, because if they had an accident, when the driver got a ticket associated with the accident, they're probably going to get sued if they haven't been sued already. Do they have an attorney in Nebraska, or wherever, they got the accident, and, we're going to be able to relate to them a little bit and have an intelligent conversation. We're just not throwing darts out there and seeing what lands. We're going to be able to talk to their needs right away. So that's the value of doing some research first. If I can share a screen, Robert, can I share a screen with my?
Yeah, you should be. You're a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, I'll just share them with one of my databases that I have, so you can see. All right, long distance. Here we go. So let me pull up New Jersey. So these are my New Jersey. My New Jersey prospects. All the ones that are gray are the ones that I sent emails out to. If you can see here, but there's the email column here, to the right. And I got their emails, just almost everyone you get the email on. But all the ones in the red here are talking points, and I don't know if you see, here's certain fines. They had acute violations, and they had an accident. Here's one had an accident with citation of Virginia, was a company from New Jersey. So that's all the research that's put into this. And I probably got really 10,000 companies that I have in this database that put a lot of hours into, to doing the research, but I actually need to work with other associates to make these calls. And so that's, part of my field training effort, as I'm willing to work with anybody in any state and share what I already have put together to see if we can make it work.
Oh, absolutely. So real quickly. So, and I saw your question too, George. So it depends on what system you're using. If you're using any kind of mail system, then no, everybody's not going to see the email. If you're using something like a Gmail or Outlook, then you have to BCC the other addresses. I always, like when I used to send mass to like a regular email. So let's say I wasn't using anything I paid for. I was simply in Gmail as a brand new Gmail user that didn't have workspace or anything, and I was sending a bulk email. I would literally send an email to myself and then BCC the rest of them so that they see the email going from legal, like it'll be llbenefits@legalshield.com, sending an email to dunbar.robert@gmail.com, and then the BCC would be all the other email addresses so nobody else would know who else it went to. Now, saying that was when I did not have the money to have any kind of system, when I didn't know what I was doing, right? All full transparency. Now I use systems that personalize, guys, and that changes the entire game. Meaning so most of you ought to get an email from me, it'll say, George, are you getting on a call? Priscilla, are you getting on a call? Hey, Clifford, have you seen? I personalize the emails through my system because people tend to open up emails more when it says their name because that person feels like you know who they are. Does that make sense? That's why it's important to have a database that does all that. And unfortunately, I don't know what HubSpot does because I don't use it. Not because there's something wrong with it, but because I have a whole other system that I use. So I don't know what HubSpot does and what it doesn't do. But as business owners, We got to get in a different mindset of you cannot just be sending random emails to companies that blanket them because the person on that side knows that they've been quote unquote spam and they don't like that. So a lot of times they won't read the email. But you can still send out bulk emails and say their name. Right. So I will look at, we're doing a business summit this week. So I know I'm not going to do it next week, but maybe the week after next, I'll do a little something on some systems that y'all can use that only cost you a couple of dollars a month or free, but that will put you in a position where you can send some better emails that are personalized. Because I can promise you this: if you send 300 emails that blanket versus send 300 emails where everybody's getting an individual email that says their name, even though you still sent it out as a blanket email, the percentage of people who open it is going to be big. The percentage of people who click, and you have to put something in your email for them to click on so that you know that they clicked on something. That shows interest that somebody clicked on something. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to all think about that when you're doing math, because this is mass marketing, guys. You're doing employee benefits. This is not Barbara recruiting one individual. This is not William recruiting one individual, guys. You're doing group benefits. You're sending out stuff B2B. That has to be in mass. You cannot call one company at a time for the rest of your life. Most of us are in our 40s and 50s and 60s. God bless everybody who's younger than that. That's fine. But I know most of us were in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, right? There you go. And when you're at that age, we can't afford to prospect one person at a time. I'm sorry, I'm 46. I need to be prospecting more than one person at a time. That's pretty much where it's at. So you got to look at that and say, how many people can I talk to? How many people can I ask the same question at the same time so I can eliminate more people? Because this is a process, sales is a process of elimination, guys. Who doesn't want it so I can concentrate on who does? Right? So everybody who married, dating was a process of elimination. You eliminate everybody who you weren't gonna marry, then you marry the person, right? The person who stood up acting like they had some sense, you eliminate everybody else and you married them. So dating is nothing but a process of elimination. Same thing you're doing here is sales. Sales is a process of elimination. Find out who are suspects so you can spend time with the prospects, because the prospects are how you make money. So we need to talk about getting more of those out. So hopefully that works. Wanda Bill, you look nice over there. I love the bow tie. Absolutely. Sharanda, where you at?
What's up? So awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, I want to see more about John training. Make sure you plug into the training on Saturday. I'm sure he'll be dropping all those gems on Saturday. So make sure you get signed up for that class Friday before they shut it off Friday afternoon. You want to get registered for that class, because I'm sure John will be dropping all those gems for you. So if y'all want to hear that, make sure you are registered for that class on Saturday. Okay?
Absolutely.
Right, John?
Thank you, Surrender, for that. Yeah, and tell your uplines and downlines on it too, because this is something that happens, like I said, twice a year. It's where I get to share this with the nation. Otherwise, it's just one-on-one, and it's a slow process one-on-one.
Yep, he's gonna be dropping that information, and Alan is gonna be cheering him on.
John, you created that spreadsheet?
Yeah. Yes.
How did you do that? Because people are asking.
Oh, well, it's just using the wizard that comes with the program. There's no formulas in it at all. So it's just really just cut and paste, from the Safe Assist and the other sources that I have for like email addresses and telephone numbers and that type of thing.
Okay.
It's just a lot of cut and paste, a lot of hours.
All right. So since I'm gonna ask this question to the audience, that way we don't waste our time with this. Is that something that you guys want to hear about? Like, do you guys need to understand how to do that? Because I know there's a lot of people who don't know how to do certain things. And it really is a simple process. Creating a spreadsheet is really simple. You can cut and paste, you can just make it a CSV. You can do it very quickly. I've been doing it for a long time, but I know some people are just not tech at all. I get it. So just by a show, obviously we're not gonna do it today. But I can show you guys how to do that on the call. I just don't want to bring that here if
They
nobody.
said, yeah.
You
You
saying
can
yeah?
stop. They said, yeah.
Good. All right. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
they
Good.
said, yeah.
So we can show you guys how to put some names and numbers in a spreadsheet so that you've got something active that you can use to keep your information in. We'll also talk a little bit about some CRMs because you gotta have your people somewhere where you can get to them and you can take notes properly because your prospects are your money, guys. Your prospects are your money. Absolutely. Good. We got a lot of yeses, so people definitely needed to hear that. So John, another question for you on the field training side of things. So you work with this guy. So from me, it seemed like he was a good person to work with from that interview last week. It seemed like he was coachable, like he understood the process of working with a field trainer. We know that that's not always the case, just like we know for the field. John is a good field trainer, but sometimes y'all get connected with a field trainer that's not so good. So we know that happens on both sides, right? So John, if you can, like when you're looking to work so that we know how to act, right? When you're looking to work with somebody, what kind of person, how should that trainee be when you're working with them so that it works smoother from your side?
Well, when I think I'm out with me, they get actively involved because when you're doing these trucking companies, sometimes there's a little bit of a feeding frenzy sometimes, when the drivers start coming to your table and then they attract other drivers, and before you know it, things can get out of control really fast. A lot of questions being asked, and then people are filling out information. But as far as work that I give him, I give the field, my associates, homework to go. I'll give him a list of companies. I'll say, here, I want you to call these companies and see if you can schedule an appointment. Get them, and I'll give them the verbiage. I'll give them the language to use and to see if we can get in the door or set up an appointment just to get them over that fear of calling, because that's sometimes people have that fear of public speaking. Sometimes people have a fear of calling companies, but like I said, I'll give them the talking points. I'll say, call this company. This is why you want to call them, just to kind of get them used to calling on companies and not have a fear of the phone. I think Jeb Blunt, Sharon talks about Jeb Blunt quite a bit, that the phone is the 50-pound gorilla in the room, right? It just doesn't work unless you pick it up and start dialing. And then just making sure that the members get activated. That's another critical thing. If they don't activate their app and their membership, so I got them actively involved in that. Now, on the other side, I was assigned a field trainer associate that lives here in my neighborhood, but he only has from 4:30 in the afternoon till 5 o'clock at night to do anything at all, because he works full time and he's got Saturdays. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to be able to help him. I gave him some ideas as far as his warm list, which are not trucking related. But if you're in this business, you gotta allow some time to do it. I don't know how he's going to be able to fit some time in with just a half an hour at the end of the day, and maybe a Saturday too. So it's difficult for associates that they want the training, that just don't quite have the schedule to do it. But the ones that do have the time available, it's fun to work with them because you can really get in depth in the training. As far as the paperwork with the group that I just signed up with this associate, we actually found out after we found out they had a business plan already. I kind of had a sixth sense, and I thought I would call corporate to see if they were group already. And it turns out they were somebody else's group that had no memberships in it, and it hadn't been serviced. So Legal Shield gave it to me. So you want to take care of those. You were going to run into those. I mean, they didn't tell me they were a group. If they were a group, then I would have had to back out of it, because that's a golden rule. But because they didn't say they were part of a group, I went ahead with the business plan. But just something it tells you, and you get that feeling. As a field trainer, well, maybe I better call, because I don't want to send this application in and let somebody else get credit for it. And then they were able to switch it over to me, but I didn't give it to my associate as a new group, because it wouldn't have counted as a new group for him for his bonus. So now we had to go out and get a new group for him. Still, we thought we had a new group for him last week, but it didn't turn out that way. But we did get a group.
That's good stuff. And I'm gonna ask one last question, but this one is to Sharon and not John. So Sharanda, I just asked John, what is a good trainee to work with? So I know you've been doing this for some time. Like when a person is asking for a field trainer, what should they be expecting from that field trainer? Because these associates that come in, sometimes they're expecting all kinds of different things that may or may not be true, right? Depending on what their upline told them or what they heard in the marketplace. So what should they be expecting out of that field trainer?
My thing is they plugged in, because one thing I'm not gonna do is train anybody one-on-one. So my biggest thing is that they're plugged in. And when I say plugged in, so you do a great job of recording this call. So one may not get on this call every week, but they may listen to the replay. I'm one to ask questions about certain calls, or even in my calendar, when they book with me, I ask, are they plugged into this call, the Facebook page? I asked them when the last time they took a CDLP training. Recently, I had a lot of people say 2-3 years ago. And I'm like, what? So what are you talking about? Like, you need to go get retrained, and then, book with a field trainer. I mean, not that the plan changed. It's just that it's so much happening in the industry, right? That you need to be, I think with the commercial division, even in the training itself, we talk about the Green Book, right? And it's updated monthly. That lets you know how often things change in this industry. And not that you got to know all that, but you need to be up on some things. So they have to be plugged in, right? And I always ask them what their goals are. That's one of the questions on my calendar. So, if somebody feel like they're going to work with me and I got to make calls, or, like John just said, he gives them 100 leads. I recently started to do that. But that's with those individuals that I've worked with for a while. Like, we're not going to come to the table and you're going to say, can you give me some leads? No. Like that third annual training, it teaches you everything about, prospecting. Lamar teaches that on all three, but, we do the most recent one because truckdriver.com is on there. If they're asking 1,000 questions that I know that training did, that means you didn't watch it. So it's those types of things that I expect you to do, simple things, because what we talk about is a system and we're all busy. One thing that I do, I field train, but I produce as well. So, we all just don't have a lot of time. We have to stay in the system. So I expect an associate to be in the system and plugged in if they want some time. And I say that because when I was wanting time with field trainers, that's what they wanted. You go do, right? Ms. Evans said, you go do. And you come back. And then, maybe they'll work with you. But most people don't give up time and you're not putting any effort in. I mean, like with you and Lamar, when I trained with you guys, our conversation was always about activity. You guys were coaching me on the activity that I was doing. And I just expect that from others. I don't ask anybody anything that I've never done or I haven't been expected to do. And most people know that.
And they're expecting, as far as what they're expecting from you, I know one of your key things is as a field trainer, that trainee should be expecting from you. I know you like the idea of, as a trainee, when you get a field trainer, make sure it's a field trainer that's actively working, right? What else should that trainee be expecting from that field trainer?
I'm big on honesty. Don't tell no lies. Don't tell no lies, man. Just honesty. We're all adults here. Open communication, I think, is key. So everybody know what to expect. So I just expect trainers to just do what they say, because everybody's time is important. For me, my deal is to help you win, because I know everybody want to win. And so I'm honest with you. So I tell people up front what my focus is. I mean, I have a diverse book of business, but I'm focusing on CDLP. So let's not talk about schools. Let's not talk about dentist offices and doctor's offices. I will direct you to somebody who's focused on that. And I think most trainees know that. I'm not going to act like I'm just focused on all that. Not that I can't close it. It's just that that's not my focus. So I know where my strengths are.
Yeah. And if a person comes to a field trainer that specializes in CDLP, that should be the conversation. Because if that's not what you want to talk about, then just use any field trainer.
Right. And we have that ability. Yeah, because the thing about it is corporate changed their whole field trainer program. I mean, we have top producers that are having field trainers because they don't specialize in that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, it's not like you have to be of a certain level to field train anybody anymore. Like you can have open multiple groups, but you might not be specialized in, say, CDLP. And so one of us trainers can field train a raw vest if we had to.
That's good. That's good. Good stuff. Good stuff. So it's 9:35. So we're not going. I can ask some more questions, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to do that to y'all. I know some of y'all need to get on the other Zoom. I know Mr. Self is doing Zoom and all that other stuff. So guys, we finish up here. Please make sure you get registered. It's this Saturday. The CDLP certification training is this Saturday. So get plugged into it. Get registered before Friday noon. I know you got longer than that, but I'm saying that because I know y'all gonna wait to 11:59. So I'm telling you noon. Get registered before noon on Friday because I'm not answering no emails at 3:05 and 3:20 and 3:30 and 3:40 asking me can I get corporate to let you in because I don't know.
Saturday morning, can we walk in?
Yeah.
Can I do the walk in? They say on Saturday morning.
We can't do it.
Walking in the Zoom.
Yeah, we can't, and nobody can do that. Like Alan can't do it either. Nobody can do it. Corporate code totally controls that. So when they shut that down at 3:00 Central, it's shut down, and the trainers can't do nothing. The field trainers can't do nothing. The other certification trainers that's not training on that training can't do anything. You're done. You gotta wait till next month training. So that's pretty much where that's at. So go ahead and get yourself registered. Stay plugged in. Get on this call on Mondays. Get on Sharanda's call on Thursdays. So that you can be plugged in if you're saying, hey, I need a total revamp. Get on the training with John Hoffman and Alan Roman this Saturday, and then make sure you go to YouTube or to the Facebook page and find that 3rd annual training. So between the corporate cert and that 3rd annual, you will have about 7.5 hours of CDL training, and that will help you move forward in that space as you go there. So any closing thoughts, Sharanda and John?
No, I just definitely get trained on that training because you have to be a CDLP certified training to sell a CDLP plan. So you may be group certified, but if you're not CDLP certified, you can't go in a CDLP group and get commissions. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
So just so you know.
LaShonda, the 3rd annual, we did it already. That was the one from last year. So that one is already there, it's recorded. So just go to the Facebook page and pull it there, or go to the YouTube channel. Go to, is it still, I think I changed it to TBD Coaching. TBD Coaching. So if you go to TBD Coaching on YouTube, my channel will pull up. Just scroll down to the playlist. You'll see different playlists on my channel. Go to the one that says CDLP. And just go to the search bar and put in 3rd annual. And 3rd, like 3RD, not THIRD. 3RD space annual. It'll pull up that training. It's a little over 2 hours. So it's already there. We did it a year ago. So it's the last year. We haven't done a 4th annual training. We haven't done 2022 training yet. John Hoffman?
And then I also saw Alan's video about the training coming up, and I think he put on there that the attorneys are going to be on there again too, from Riggs Abney are going to be on there again also.
Good.
So that's always special when they're on.
Always good to hear from them. All right, guys, good stuff. Well, we appreciate y'all plugging in again, as usual, on a weekly basis. you guys, please go out there and get some things done. Blitz tomorrow, Blitz every Tuesday. So get up tomorrow and run that Blitz with corporate and get some numbers on board, make some calls, get yourself excited for that. We look forward to seeing some of you guys on the training on Saturday, the CERT training on Saturday, and then we'll see you guys next Monday. And then for those that are working with Shereen on the accountability call, you guys will see her on Thursday. So appreciate you guys all. Everybody have a safe and successful rest of your week.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Everybody, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good night, and thank you for the training. Thank you.
Yeah. Good night.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, good night. Thank you.
Good training.
Night, night.
And he said, Barry, I want that song.